Some people, may have wondered why I play golf, right? Like, you start to have this view of the world, and when people start wondering why you play golf, instead of this, or you start to wonder yourself, why do I play golf and why am I the only one? Life in Detroit in the 2000s, and this is from my perspective, right, and being frank as possible. Like, my dad was a business owner. We were doing well for what we had, but I grew up working at our supermarket. In doing that, I got to experience and see both sides of reality. 40% of our customers were on food stamps. The demographic of our supermarket, even though it was in a great neighborhood, people that were, I wouldn't say in poverty, but close to it. Having to interact with people that were on that side of the spectrum, and then being able to go to Detroit Golf Club and see a totally different world, right? I got the best of both worlds growing up. Very balanced approach. It opened my eyes to who I should be, or who I wanted to be as I got older. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably part of what contributed to me, wanting to turn pro, because of how I grew up and what I saw growing up in the 2000s. In my world, it allowed for me to want to make an impact in the game of golf and kind of change a very pivotal part of what is the world of golf. Michigan as a whole has one of the largest or highest number of golf courses per capita. That being said, Detroit being the largest kind of metropolitan area in the state, the golf is incredible. Despite it being a short time frame, it's probably one of the most energetic time spans of golf anywhere in the country. And I say that wanting to allude to the Rocket Mortgage being in Detroit now, and the PGA Tour choosing to come back and invest. That's been huge for getting eyes on the golf community within the city. My dad tells me a story about how the first time he saw me walk, one of the things I did was try and grab a club, and I'm hitting the top of the ball with this club with two hands. That was the very first steps I ever took. But I gravitated towards it because I saw him playing. It was never something he had to force on me. I've won a lot growing up, and then playing at the highest level, especially as a junior, I stood out. Regardless of the state you're in, more times than not, you're gonna be the only black player in that realm, or one of a couple. Everybody knew who I was, everybody respected me, probably even a little bit more because I was black. Now, it shouldn't be that way, but that's the reality of it. I always held my own because of what I looked like and who I was. I was always true to myself, and also because my dad was right there alongside of me, making sure nothing fugazi would happen. From a member golf standpoint, Detroit Golf Club has a ton of really good players. One guy named Larry Long, when he was younger, the whites only clause was starting to be abolished, right? So Mr. Long played in the USGA qualifier at Detroit Golf Club in the 60s. And I remember when he first told me a story about meeting Horton Smith, who was the president of the PGA of America at the height of the whites only clause, but he was also the head pro at Detroit Golf Club. Kind of a legendary moment for Mr. Long to be able to tell that story. 40 years later, Mr. Long was able to join Detroit Golf Club and be one of the top 4 players in the club. That's unbelievable, you know what I'm saying? And so he was definitely an idol for me. It was an amazing environment for me to grow up and pretty much play as much as I could. We had a morality class in high school. We had a 2-week stretch on vocation. Learning about vocation is what kind of allowed for me to realize that the access I had growing up, I need to figure out a way to pay it forward, right? And the best way to do that was to be a shining example at the highest level and play golf professionally. Here I am today, I'm the best player I've ever been, trekking along. There were a couple low moments where, in order to stay near where I needed to practice, I needed to hang out in the whip for a couple weeks or close to it. There's moments where I'm wondering how I'm gonna pay for the next tournament. A lot of companies around me, a lot of people around me have been saying that they want to do this, and family friends have been saying they want to do this or do that, but then Rhoback popped up out of nowhere and they're doing what they said they're gonna do. The drive change funds have been very substantial over the last 2 years and helping me keep pushing. It's just gonna continue to benefit and give minority golfers another platform to potentially be a part of, We have to earn those opportunities, right? We have to keep putting the work in, but just gotta keep giving kids the opportunity. It's only gonna help the sport. The goal is PGA Tour, the plan is PGA Tour. Playing more Mondays. I spend more time trying to get in world ranked events. I'm a golfer, you know what I'm saying? The competition is what I live for. Being one of 20 or 30 black players that people speak of when it comes to where golf may be in 20 years, you know what I'm saying? That would be a successful career.